Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a CK rant video. But before we get into that, I need y'all to understand, don't mind what's going on over here. I know my office is normally the cleanest. I got boxes everywhere because this room is being used as the hideout spot for all the gifts for Christmas to be wrapped, okay? So it's going to be there for a few seconds. I couldn't put it anywhere else where it wouldn't be in the way. All right, so you're gonna have to let that slide. Also, tonight's game night, which makes me even more upset that I have to make a video like this, but I feel like this is an annual video that I make every single season, and this season is no different because once again, the headlines, I'm seeing what I'm seeing, so I need to say what you see on the title and on the thumbnail. Without further ado, run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K here, and welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and do not forget to like this video and join the CK Crew if you haven't already. Like I said, all the money goes back to the channel. I promise you, and you have my word that everything I get is to make sure that the content on this channel is at its best abilities, and we still have a long way to go for that. So please join CK Crew if you want to be a part of that. And yes, the fantasy draft information is on its way. I'm telling you guys, you gotta become a member before it starts because it's gonna be lit. So yeah, stay tuned for that. All right, so as you guys can see by the title, you guys can see by the thumbnail, I'm not in a good mood. I mean, I'm not in a bad mood. It's just upsetting as a Knicks fan seeing this same narrative every single season, whether it is a new coach change, whether it is we have the same coach but he's frustrated and knows that he's on his way out, so he wants something instantly to change and says something in the media, and then this article comes out yet again about the same topic. Whatever the case may be, we see this every single year, and we knew with Tom Thibodeau stepping up as our head coach for the New York Knicks that it was not going to be very long until we saw this coming out of Tom Thibodeau's mouth. I mean, probably from the jump we knew Tom Thibodeau wanted this before we even had to say anything. But the point of the matter is, here we are, yet again, the Knicks are trying to get a superstar via free agency without putting any of the work in. You're seeing on all of the articles, you're seeing on all of the pages and whatnot, where's my superstar coming from Tom Thibodeau? Because we just saw Giannis Antetokounmpo wrap up his super max, mega, super duper huge deal with the Milwaukee Bucks for over $200 million for the next few years. We also saw Paul George lock up his contract with the Los Angeles Clippers, so he's off the table for 2021. And Anthony Davis is already extended for the next few years for the Los Angeles Lakers. So the question comes back to, who's left? And then here comes CK, who's been saying it for the last few months, telling you once again, for those who are so scared and so curious, who's going to be left for the New York Knicks. Here's Uncle CK telling you, it doesn't matter. We should not be going after these big fishes in the first place if we did not learn our lesson from 2019, if we did not learn our lesson from 2017, and if we did not learn our lesson from any year in the past, 2010. Like, I can go down so many years where we missed out on so many free agents. If we did not learn our lessons then we're obviously never going to learn our lesson. Now, like I said, if it wasn't already made more blatantly clear in 2019, we are on our own. And what I mean by that is we need to do this organically, and we need to put our pride to the side. You could probably find several videos of me saying this, but the New York Knicks need to adopt that small market mentality, because the problem is we think that we are the big juggernaut New York Knicks and people are just going to want to come and play for us because the Knicks, and it's New York or nowhere and blah, 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 blah. But the case of the matter is that's not the truth. It's definitely not the truth. People want to come and play here, but that's to get their own stats up to say that they did their thing in Madison Square Garden. But that's always on the opposing team. Nobody wants to come and play for the New York Knicks anymore. That's just the way it is right now. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we will be able to get to a spot where we will be good again. But we have to realize that part. I mean, I say we. I mean, I'm sure probably the viewer who's watching this video right now, you are looking at me like, CK, I get it too. I hear what you're saying. But the thing is, for whatever reason, those who run this Knicks organization or those who are in power of the Knicks organization seem to not see that as the case. Like I said, we need to adopt that small market mentality by just doing it through the draft and developing our own players and signing vets that know their role and that are willing to play their role. That's why I love the signings of Alec Burks, Austin Rivers, Nerlens Noel. Like, these are better free agency pickups that we got that are known for knowing their role. Austin Rivers is not, well, hopefully Austin Rivers is not going to come out there and expect to be this big time starting guard now that he's playing for the New York Knicks. No, he has said it in interviews of his own that he is coming to this team to help propel this team and help these younger guys learn and help this team win with whatever role that may be. Alec Burks the same way. Nerlens Noel the same way. These are guys that know their role. We got a lot of nice names last year. Obviously, a lot of them in the same position, but a lot of them did not know their role. Everyone thought that they were going to be the superstar. Marcus Morris put his money where his mouth was, for sure. Like, he came out and he ended up taking the role. But we have guys like Julius Randle who really want to be that guy, but they're not that guy, at least not for this team. We can still be good and develop, but the problem is we need to commit to the development and commit to what we are doing when it comes to free agency. If we're not committing to those things, we're just going to be bad every year as we're trying to develop our players. But the thing is, we don't properly develop our players. We never have. This year, things could be different. I mean, we got a better, this is probably the best coaching staff that we've had on this team in a long time. And we have all the potential to. And the one big thing that Leon Rose has done that we have not seen anybody who has been in power do in the past, and that is hire people to do every single different job. Not one person to try to do a bulk of things. Looking at you, Steve Mills. He has a dude that worries about the stats, a dude that worries about the books, a dude that worries about the scouting, a dude that worries about development, we have guys for every single role. We have multiple guys. We have guys on our bench that are known for developing and known for grooming players to become better. And you can even break it down by position. Kenny Payne's a guy that knows how to help big men develop, forwards, centers develop. Mike Woodson, who is known to bring the fire out of players who are on the fringe of making that next step. Johnny Bryant is known for developing a guard position. We've seen it in the past with guys like Damian Lillard and Donovan Mitchell, who have spoken up for Johnny Bryant. We have the right guys, but the thing is, we have to commit to what it is. We need to commit to the development and stop trying to force things into what they're not. And that's what we're doing right now. And here's my other thing too. Before we even think about hunting for any of these big fish that we know we're not going to get, how about we figure out our own point guard situation first? Not let alone needing an all-star. Let's figure out our own point guard situation. Now, I will give Dennis Smith Jr. the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I do believe that this team, who is so infatuated with Dennis Smith Jr., has given him multiple times. The minute we traded for him, that was it. Everyone seemed like they got their point guard that they wanted. They put him at the helm, and he played okay his first year, or first half of a year. Then his first full year, we were seeing him look like he just was not the player that we've seen in the past as a Dallas Maverick and back when he was playing in college and high school and all the mixtapes that we saw in the past. And even now in preseason, Dennis Smith Jr. had an okay first game, but it was so okay to the point where a lot of people are trying to talk themselves into loving what he did. And then his second game was very mediocre. And this is in no way me bashing Dennis Smith Jr., saying that he's this and he's that. I'm just saying that we might know what we're getting out of Dennis Smith Jr. And this brings up my point for Frank Ntilikina. I don't understand why there's such a divide when it comes to Frank Ntilikina, who is obviously our best option with what we have on our roster at point guard for right now. Frank Ntilikina, from the time we drafted him, has never really fully captured the eye of whoever our head coach was. It's almost as if the team and the coaches have been trying to put a poor curse or they're blaming Frank Ntilikina for whatever Phil Jackson did to us in the past. And in my opinion, though you want to have your opinion about Phil Jackson was not terrible. The way he went about business was crap. It was not good. But the strategy for what he was trying to build for our team, he was on to something. And because he never really got a full term, we never really got to see what it could have been. That being said, I feel like Frank Ntilikina is being punished for being a part of that draft class by Phil Jackson, who a lot of people believe is the reason why the Knicks will never be good ever again because of what Phil Jackson did to us in the past. From his rookie year, Frank Ntilikina showed us signs that he could be a formidable guard in general for this team. He looked really good playing next to Kristaps Porzingis. I'll give you that. But more so than that, Frank Ntilikina shows you that he can literally do everything on the court, and his one biggest flaw is the fact that he is not scoring at a consistent rate. Okay, I'll give you that. But if you're going to give me a player that's hustling, playing defense, doing all the little things that literally nobody else is on the team is going to do, I don't understand how that is not a starting caliber point guard, at least for what we have on our roster that we have right now. I'm not too upset with the fact that Elfrid Payton is our starting point guard, because other than how he closes out games, Elfrid Payton has shown that he has done enough to be the starter for our team. He did a good job on the defensive end, and he does a good job on the break. I think where his biggest flaw is on the half court, because he dribbles the hell out of the ball before moving the ball, and we don't move enough in a half court offense for that to work. We don't have that kind of team where you can dribble and hope that somebody's moving around. We don't have that kind of team, especially with a point guard like Elfrid Payton. So Elfrid Payton being our starter, I don't have a problem with, but at the same time, going back to what I said, we need to have a team of players that knows their role. Is Elfrid Payton going to be our point guard of the future? No. We need to stop renting point guards, and we need to start looking for our point guard that's going to be our point guard of the future. Do we even know if that's Frank Ntilikina? The haters might say he's not the guy, but a lot of us who really are thinking and looking at the game can really see that Frank Ntilikina never truly got that opportunity. And when he did get the opportunity, he would get hurt, or when he was healthy, he did great things with it. Look at the tapes. Every time Frank Ntilikina knew his role, whether he was going to be the first point guard off the bench or was our starting point guard, you saw Frank Ntilikina produce at a very, very glowing rate. His plus is always in the super high, more times than not in the double digits in the plus minus category. Frank Ntilikina is the guy that can help us right now. I'm not saying Frank Ntilikina is our point guard of the future. I love Frank Ntilikina. I'm part of the Frank Ntilikina hype, sure, but I'm not too crazy to think that I think Frank Ntilikina is our point guard of the future. I'm sorry. I want to see Frank Ntilikina next to RJ Barrett. I want to see Frank Ntilikina next to Kevin Knox. I want to see Frank Ntilikina next to Obi Toppin and Mitchell Robinson. The main reason why we saw better production from our second unit in the first game rather than the second game is because, yes, Dennis Smith Jr. played the sole point guard for both games, but the difference was in the first game, he had Frank Ntilikina to bounce off of, and that's why the team was just zipping and moving all over the place. Compared to the second game where it was just Dennis Smith Jr., it didn't look the same. Now, mind you, all this is coming before our game on Wednesday, and we can see Tom Thibodeau completely try something completely different. I've been saying it. I want him to muck it up. I want him to try out different rotations, and maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he wanted to see how it was that Dennis Smith Jr. was the only point guard, and maybe tonight he wants to see how it is if Frank Ntilikina is our only point guard. I went on a tangent because it's something that really irritates the hell out of me, but this video is not solely about Frank Ntilikina. It's just about the fact that we do not do a good job of putting our youth in positions to be good. Frank Ntilikina, to me, is just the catalyst of it, because the main issue with our team is we do not have a point guard, and when we have the opportunities to go after point guards, we don't do it. When it's as simple as going after signings like Chris Dunn's or other young point guards that you want to give that chance to, we don't do that. We go after guys that just make no sense. The Jarrett Jacks, and mind you, these guys who did well for what they did, and like I said, we do need those vets. We do need those free agency pickups. But when you're getting the Jarrett Jacks, the Ramon Sessions, the Elfrid Paytons, the Emmanuel Moutiers, the Trey Burks, those should be our guys that are playing alongside who we're hoping our main point guard should be, not the guys that we're renting for a year. You should not be renting point guards every season. That makes no sense to me. You do not rent point guards. Teams that rent point guards normally go and figure out that situation next year, be it the draft or in free agency. Check any other team that's going on in the league right now. They realize they don't have a point guard. They don't have that number one option. They go to the draft, they go to free agency, and they'll make sure that they go and get that point guard right away. But we're the only team that seems to not figure that out, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I can go on and on about point guards, but this is about development as a whole, and I want to end off by talking about the main fact where we believe, because we are the New York Knicks, that we should have every free agent on our team, because why wouldn't anyone want to play in the Mecca, play in Madison Square Garden? How could these guys not want to play in Madison Square Garden? Huh? They're the weak ones. They too scared to put on this jersey. Albeit that is true, but can you really blame some of these guys for not wanting to be that first person to come put on the jersey when we've shown that we can't put a good production around that player? I mean, now more than before, sure, maybe this team right now, along with the superstar, could be better. But at the same time, in the past, like even in 2019, as upset as I am at Kevin Durant, as much crap I'm giving Kevin Durant for going to the other team rather than us, the Brooklyn Nets did it the right way. The Brooklyn Nets did the work to get the free agents. I'm sorry a lot of Knicks fans are not going to hear this, but the reality is that the Brooklyn Nets did the work to get the free agents. They went out there and they got a ragtag group of free agents and ragtag group of young guys that have the ability to be players or have the ability to be busts, but at least they knew their role, and that made for a good team. They went out and got a D'Angelo Russell, who was on his way out, but it was not too long ago the top 3 pick for for the Los Angeles Lakers. They made a trade. They gambled on this kid, and he was able to become an all-star in that first season and was a catalyst for that Brooklyn Nets team that was able to go to the playoffs. Sole reason? No. But he was definitely one of the catalysts for that, and it trickled down from there. Spencer Dinwiddie was on the far end of the bench, if not even the roster, for the Detroit Pistons. I can go down the list for a lot of these guys. Karis LeVert has injury histories, and it continued that throughout his career. So on and so forth. I can go down the list for what the Brooklyn Nets did. But the thing is, the Brooklyn Nets did the right way, and they did it organically because they had no choice. They know that they're the second team in New York. They knew that they were the New Jersey Nets at one time and who's going to play for Jersey, and they now know that they're Brooklyn Nets next to the New York Knicks. They're the second team in the city, so they're going to have to do it their way, and they'll do it behind the scenes while we're here trashing them, and they did it the right way, and that's why it gave guys like DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, all these guys, because of the history of what the Nets did in the last few years, they had more trust that this team can do whatever they can to help these guys be in contention in the Eastern Conference. How do they know they can get that from the Knicks? They don't. They really don't. And I feel like, yes, we did a good job hiring upstairs, but if there's no product on the court and whatever's on the court doesn't show for what we did upstairs, and the Leon Roses and the Tom Thibodeaus and the Walt, anybody that you want to name, if the product on the court doesn't show, then it just looks like we just have another front office of failure yet again. We got to do it the right way, people. We got to do it the right way, which is why I don't understand why we're not aggressive in making trades for like Alonzo Ball, and I use Alonzo Ball all the time because I just feel like he is the perfect example of the kind of point guard that this team would need, that will know his role and will also make the rest of our team, the RJ Barretts, the Kevin Knoxes, the Mitchell Robinsons, I can go on and on. He will be that guy that's going to make these guys better and is going to make this team look a lot better. Sure, I would love a scorer first point guard. That'd be great, an all-star level point, but I want a guy that's going to make this team better, develop this team. This is why I love the guys like the Tyrese Halliburtons, the Lonzo Balls, the LaMelo Balls, those kind of guys that I talk about all the time when I talk about the point guard position. Hell, going after Rajon Rondo. Did we even try? Like, if we at least tried and struck out, I'm cool with that. But did we actually try for Rajon Rondo? Like, I'm so frustrated with what's going on with this team. And to hear that, I keep seeing the articles and I keep seeing some Knicks fans talk about this free agent's weak for not coming to the Knicks, or the Knicks need to save their money so we can get this free. We're not gonna get those free agents. We're not gonna get those free agents with a damn 21 and some odd record and nothing looking good on the team. Right now, the only bright spot on this team is RJ Barrett. I'm not even gonna give it to Mitchell Robinson no more, because what is Mitchell Robinson? We don't know. I hate to be in this mood right before a game, and look at me wearing my New York Knicks shirt. He gotta step up too. Just because I'm a fan, I don't mean I'm not blind to the situation. I do believe Kevin Knox is a better role player than we think he is, because we've seen in the past that Kevin Knox is very tentative and he has his problems. But we also see that Kevin Knox is picking up just like a Frank Ntilikina, and he's young. He's allowed to take his time to get to develop into something. The problem with the New York Knicks and New York fan base is we want it to be done right now. It needs to be done right now, or else they're a bust. But that's not the case, man. I just feel like the only free agents that we need to be working on and the only free agents we need to be looking at are the guys that know their role and that could possibly turn into diamonds for us in the long run. That's why I was looking at guys like Harry Giles. Didn't give him a chance. I've talked long enough, I've raved long enough, I've ranted long enough. I already know that there's going to be a lot of you guys that will agree with me, but there's also going to be guys that are going to disagree and think that, you know what, if nobody wants to come here, then they chumps. Frank Ntilikina is not the guy. I get it, I understand, but I just need to get this out because I feel like we need to have this conversation every single year because it's just frustrating. We don't have a point guard and we never do anything about the situation. It's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And there's so many other things I'm missing that I haven't even mentioned. Like Obi Toppin. Like, I'm not worried about Obi Toppin at all. Just don't stunt his growth, Knicks. Just don't stunt Obi Toppin's growth. But who am I? Just a Knicks fan on a YouTube channel with an opinion. And I would love to hear you guys' opinions in the comments below. What do you think about everything I said in this video? Do you agree with my rant? Do you disagree with my rant? And if you disagree, let me know how. And if you agree, please add your piece to it as well. I'm really open to seeing what you guys have to say. No comments in the video today. I don't really read the comments right now, but I will definitely read your comments tomorrow. It's me, your boy CK. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like this video. Join the CK Crew membership if you still want your chance to be in the new fantasy league, dynasty league. That's a yearly league for those who stay as a member. Members will know when the video comes out for members only. Stay tuned for that. I'm out. You know what it is. Let's get it, guys. Let's enjoy tonight's game. Hopefully this rant gets you riled up. Hopefully somebody within the Knicks organization sees this. I don't know. But it's your boy CK. See you guys in the next one. I'm out.
Feeling like I won the lotto. Always taking trips with a new chick, asking where the time goes.